Welcome to Miss Martin Muses. Welcome to Miss Martin Muses and Pub Crawl. It is time for another pub crawl. We are on our 10th pub, so apparently we are completely smashed. If we have followed the rules of a pub crawl and had at least one drink at it. Well, tonight, our guest at the pub crawl where we are meeting outside in the doorway, it is none other than La Reina Creole. La Reina Creole is our guest tonight. Hello, welcome to Miss Martin Muses.
Well, hello, and I'm so glad to be here on your channel.
I'm so glad too. Yes, making her Miss Martin Muse's debut. I'm so glad we finally found a time and a place and some girl time here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Steek's trying. Steek Kenobi is trying to suck up.
Oh,
Lorena is guest number 10 because she's a 10 out of 10.
oh, God bless you. Well, he's such a sweetheart.
Yeah, that's one way to describe him. And we have some from some from Ireland. Yeah, Potato Revan, the
Love
lovely
that.
Lady Toriel. We have an elf in the
Toriel.
house.
So good to see
Yeah.
you, my dear.
Tori Cochran. Yeah, allegedly, we were only like a minute late. I know you're late because the two of you are doing a pillow fight in your undies in slow motion. Yes, that's exactly what we are doing. Yeah, everyone's saying hello. Hello, Gravy D is here. Well, hello, everyone. It's so good to see you. And if you've not subscribed to La Reina Creole, why? She has an amazing channel where you do all sorts of stuff. Right now, a lot of theme parks, but of course, you watch movies, you do gaming, you have guests, you do things about that wild state you live in, Florida.
Yes.
Yeah, and all that. Well, in the pub that Lorena has chosen for us to meet in today, it is one that I'm going to allow her, of course, to tell us all about. It's a tiki bar, and it's called the Tamboo Lounge. Tell us about this place.
Yes. Well, as most people who know me or see my channel, I do a lot of live streams from Disney World. And they're one of two original hotels that opened when the Magic Kingdom opened in 1971. And that would be the Polynesian Resort, which literally take every trope about a tiki bar and, Polynesian themed. And that's pretty much what the Polynesian is. Like, I almost want to say like that episode of the Brady Bunch where they went to Hawaii. That's pretty much what the Polynesian is like, and it has such a wonderful history. A lot of golden age of television actors stayed there, like Bing Crosby stayed there, Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz stayed there. It's just got a lot of history to it, and there is this bar called the Tamboo Lounge, which is a quote unquote tiki bar, which, it's all South Seas themed, carved tikis, very, very colorful drinks, and very, very strong drinks just presented in just all of these amazing ways. And we're talking about drinks that have been around for decades, some drinks that are infamous, so to speak, for what they do to certain people. But it's one of those authentic places where you go. Some of the bartenders have been there for years. Like I said, different drinks that have been there for years. There's a drink called a back scratcher, which actually is served with a wooden back scratcher in it. It's got like, I forget, it's like a Mai Tai, but spiced up with a couple of other things thrown in. Yes, and literally a back scratcher. I have one.
Oh,
I kept
I
that.
was gonna say I'd keep it. I mean, that's awesome. I've stirred
Yeah.
drinks with lots of things and not that. So,
Mm-hmm.
woohoo.
I
Mm.
was like, I'm like, oh, tiki, Mai Tai, whatever. They're a real back scratcher in this thing. I'm like, I definitely want that one. And of course, you have there's oh god, there's a ton of drinks. I wish I should have. should have thought about bringing the menu
Mhm.
with me, but there's another drink that is infamous, and that would be the oh my gosh, the Lapu Lapu. Now, what this is, first of all, any rum drinks that's served in a hollowed out pineapple should already give you cause, pause to start out with. So it's got a hollowed out pineapple in it. It's got two, no, three kinds of rum, 151 proof Bacardi rum that's in it, pineapple juice, I think mango juice, and it's served in that pineapple. And if you're nuts like I am, you will wind up eating the pineapple, which has soaked up a whole lot of 151 and Everglare and all of that juice in it. And kind of hard trying to stand up after you had those. And I was with my family and my sisters, and we had like two apiece. And I do not remember how we got to the Magic Kingdom. I really don't.
Oh, I was about ready to say that's where you're gonna end up on the evening news. That's that kind of a drink. Here, I got
Y-
a shot here.
Yes, it is literally cast members are like families have stories about that drink, and I'm like, yeah, because we have several.
Babies
We have
accidentally get conceived at this kind of drink.
it
Here it
just
is.
it just it fits in with the atmosphere. Yes, that is the infamous Lapu Lapu drink. Um, if you're on the Disney dining plan, whenever they decide to bring it back, the one that includes alcohol, this is not on the list,
Mm,
probably for reasons.
mhm.
But it's been around for years. It just looks good. I want to say, besides the back scratcher, which you're drinking, it's got the back scratcher in it. This is number one, and you will see people drinking plenty of these. It's a joy to hold, and it's a joy to drink too.
Yes. Public service announcement here at Miss Merton says always have a designated driver, please. Always have a designated driver
Yes,
and hydrate.
abs yes, and hydrate. And one of the good things about being at this particular resort is you don't have to drive to the Magic Kingdom because there's the monorail. Just
Mhm.
ask for help if you don't know where.
Point
The
me in the
monorail
direction.
and the boat.
Just stay away from the deck. You know,
Yes.
you could do this, go sober, and just when closing time, have your camera to just watch everyone stumble on. Actually, of course, I don't always endorse that, but it would be fun. Uh, as long as it's all in good fun and you stay away from the gators.
Yeah, yeah. Don't go near standing water. No, just don't. Not in Florida. No, no.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even at those miniature golf, you don't go near
Oh
the
my
little
gosh.
puddles.
That's true.
Oh dear. Well, I remember when there was that horrible tragedy, of course, the with the
Hmm.
little child,
Yeah.
and I went about a month afterwards, and they started to put the gates and the warning signs, and I'm like, why didn't they do that before? It never occurred to me either, because they have those little movies where all the little kids watch them, at nighttime, and
Hmm.
a gator could have. I'm surprised it took that long for that to happen because there was nothing deterring the gators. It was awful.
I
Um,
think what happened, and I'm sorry, not mean to interrupt you. I think when the park first opened in '71, um, Florida was not as developed, and most of the people who lived there had a healthy respect for nature. And this is why
mhm,
I miss having nature shows on television, because
mhm,
people seem to have a very healthy respect for wild animals. I mean, you
mhm.
weren't going up and trying to feed them or anything like that. And in the late '70s, I mean, before the whole thing with the brain-eating bacteria got discovered, people were actually out there, swimming.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
but no one was feeding alligators.
Mm.
at all. So alligators usually, I mean, people weren't going far out to go swimming or anything like that. They were kind of like on the, on the shore close to the beach. But eventually, of course, with the brain eating amoeba and all that, they said, no swimming. So they outlawed swimming there. But people were much more conscious of nature. Then I'm going to say within the past 15 years or so, people think it's cute to feed nature.
Mm.
Alligators start losing their fear of humans. And most people in Florida know you do not go near standing water. You stay at least like 12 feet, away. So I think that coupled with people not having a healthy respect of nature, unfortunately, gave rise to this problem where you do have, gators coming much, much closer, to the shore because they do not know the difference between your kid, your dog, or a bird.
Mhm.
And they're very, very fast and they're very, very swift. And unfortunately, when people go on vacation, they seem to lack situational awareness. And it was awful and it was sad. I remember when I took my nieces and nephews, maybe 10 years ago, I was really crazy. I took all of them. There's four of them.
Oh, dear.
I did a lot of drinking. No, basically the cast members would come over with, the drink menu here. I think you need you need this after dealing with these kids. I'm like, God bless you. Thank you so much. But when we went, I gave them the same speech that my grandparents who lived in rural Florida would give me. They're just like, you don't go touching everything. You don't go near standing water. There's alligators. There's water snakes that'll bite you and die from the venom and everything. So we got that talking to. So I told them the same thing. You don't go near the shoreline over there. You stay in the pool. You
Mhm.
don't go near the shoreline. You don't go digging through stuff or, whatever. But most people, when they come to Florida, they're not thinking
No.
about that. And it's really sad. When I heard about that little kid, my heart just it felt awful because it's just
Yeah.
like at first I'm like, well, why are you that close to the shore? And then I'm like, okay, people probably don't realize
Mhm.
that this is a swamp, literally. Disney is in a swamp, which is why, they had to develop all that land to even, build on it because it's in the middle of nowhere.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, and I've seen it before where stay with my folks. I'm on a 2-week here, 2-week in Florida situation on the Atlantic side. Everyone is always either drowning or getting rescued. I saw my first rescue in this. They don't respect the nature, they don't respect the water, and, I mean, they have all these signs saying, "Don't go out, past your waist," or
Mm-hmm.
something, and they're all like, no, I won't," and then they have to go and get rescued and brought in by the Coast Guard because, of course, we have really, really bad riptides, and people don't realize
Yes.
that. Such a
Yes,
dump.
that's another thing. Let's see, there's the one beach that I was at recently, Tables Beach. It's on Patrick Space Force property. And besides all the, don't molest the wildlife and don't pick up the turtles if you see them,
Mhm.
on the beach. They basically say watch out for rip currents, what to do if there's a rip current. And they're very strong. They're no joke. But I think people, you're right. It's like they don't pay attention. They don't respect that, nature is a powerful force that's out there. And you really do have to realize where you are.
Yes. Or at least, make it so that you're doing what the natives do. That's a rule that I was always told. When I was in
Mhm.
Iceland, you know how that water is how cold it is up there, and
Uh-huh.
that and a rescue guy told me, "Yeah, you probably have about 5 minutes." That's what we're told. We have 5 minutes to save someone's life between the current and between the cold, and they have something called sneaker waves. And the tour guide says, "Okay, don't go near the water. Stay whatever feet back." And me and my traveling companion, we went, okay, we're going to go whatever the tour guide does. And when he stopped, we stopped and we stood by him. And a whole bunch of other dorks went up. And I'm like, dudes, this water will kill you. If you ever see Titanic, you are dead.
Mhm.
You get hypothermia and the currents and everything. People just got to be aware and respect. Yeah,
Thank
big nature.
you.
Yeah. I was gonna say I didn't realize you didn't have one. I'm like, wait a second, what's wrong with this world? So of course, any links that you want to put in, but yeah, but Florida's the wild. It's there's a reason why it's as weird as it is. It's kind of like you're going into Jurassic Park, and
Mhm.
it's like there's not necessarily dinosaurs, but it's almost as dangerous.
It really it is, which is why we have so many visitors from Australia, and they get a kick out of being in Florida because
Mhm.
apparently Florida and Florida is the Australia of the United States. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of similar, there's a lot of similar things between
Mm.
plants, between insects, between, you know, alligators. When I moved down here, granted I went to school down here, but when I moved down here permanently 2 years ago, in my neighborhood, I'm looking and I'm seeing all these birds. I didn't know what they were. They looked weird. They would sit on top of my car like I'm supposed to give them something, like I owe them
Yeah.
money. Some of them where I would drive out and go to a stoplight and all of a sudden they just fly down and land right in front of you or
Yeah.
on your car or stalk you to your car.
Mhm.
Uh, let's see. I've seen like small garden snakes outside. They're just
Mhm.
jumping into the bushes. I've seen little lizards run all over the place. Drives my cats nuts because he wants to catch them and he can't catch them. We got fire ants down here. They have no natural predators. Thank you, South America. And
Ugh.
you step in them and they will freaking bite you. So you always have to look down when you're walking. There's like these little sticker things that are on plants that you step on one, it's worse than stepping on a freaking Lego. It's just a
Oh.
mess. And then, of
Yeah.
course, the sun is always trying to kill you.
Yeah.
So I can't tell you how many people, and I'm pretty sure you've seen this, Teresa, how many people, especially tourists who come over from Europe, the sun here is no joke.
No.
And I've
Mm-mm.
seen people like EMS will have to come get them like literally at the parks because there's so many cases of heat stroke and everything
Mhm.
that goes on because they're not accustomed to the climate. And in Florida, one of the things that I know my grandparents would do is everything is different. People are used to waking up very early to get everything that they need to get done before that noonday heat hits. And then from like 12 to like 5 or 6 o'clock, Floridians do not go outside.
Mm-mm.
We really we don't go outside. It's super hot in the summer. It's dangerous. It really is dangerous to be out there. You're always looking down to see where it is that you're walking. Wildlife can show up at any minute. I mean, I've been driving, I've seen wild boars
Mhm.
come out
Yeah.
of the woods. I've seen a panther come out
Yeah,
of the woods.
panthers.
I've seen a black bear come out of the woods. I've been driving across a bridge and I'll see like some osprey with a big, huge fish still twitching, and they'll
Uh-huh.
drop the fish and fall the causeway or
Yeah.
your car.
Yeah. And I don't know, there's some sort of cat. It's between like a mountain lion and a normal cat. I forget what it's called. It's like called a dwagathwathon or something that
Oh,
it was in my aunt's front yard. And we were like, what the is that creature of the
oh my
night?
gosh. I think I know what you're talking about because I saw one at Gatorland.
Yeah, and just
I can't
hanging
remember
out.
I can't remember the name, but I saw it in Gatorland.
I mean, I'm used to seeing, stray cats every now and then in my neighborhood, but man, I didn't see that. Well, stray cats wouldn't last long in Florida. They get snatched up. Stray cats are snacks.
Yeah.
You know, but it's funny you mentioned that about the skin because I am of Scandinavian heritage. I am whiter than white, and I don't care how dumb I look whenever I love to go out to the beach and swim and do all that stuff. I'm practically wearing a burqa, and I'm like I'm covered in sunscreen. I've got a big old hat. I'm almost fully clothed. It's like old t-shirts and stuff. When I'm in the ocean because I will it's like instant skin cancer if I don't forget the heat and everything. It's dangerous if you're fair skinned. Even though, I'm an American born and bred. So no, I am not ashamed of what I wear in the ocean. It's usually my Frodo Live shirt that I got from 2001. Yeah, because it was old and tattered. I'm like, well, where can I wear it? I'll wear it in the ocean. I'm so cool. It has the date of the release of the first Fellowship of the Ring movie.
Mhm.
So that's what I do. And yeah, and I had that. I'm the chick with the big old hat who doesn't care. That's me on the beach.
You
Yeah,
know what? It's like it's okay
yeah.
because one of the other things, and you know this,
Hmm.
one of the big things about the South, especially with the older ladies, is you have your parasol, not an umbrella,
Mm-mm.
a
Yeah,
parasol. There's
damn
a
right.
difference. Parasol is decorated like I don't know what. It looks absolutely gorgeous. And it's, of course, to keep the sun off you. So
Hmm.
having your big hat and having your umbrella, that is perfectly acceptable down here. And I even have like the umbrella that I have, it like refracts the UV light. So I have a UV umbrella. So
Sweet.
you best believe when I'm live streaming in the parks, I have that umbrella up in the summer and it is nice and comfy under there.
Oh, yeah, and I was gonna say you forgot about and in one hand, a tall glass of iced sweet tea.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It is considered to be an insult in the South if you do not offer people a tall glass of
Yeah.
sweet iced tea. They sell that stuff by the gallon at Publix, and I'm so happy.
I know, yeah. At the drive-thru. I'm in Texas. We're kind of cousins, Florida and Texas. And
Yeah.
like, yeah, you can get that at the drive-thru. You can get the tea by the glass or by the
By the
gallon.
glass or which one
Yeah,
do you want? The glass or the gallon?
exactly. And you can even be self-conscious about the environment and have your refillable gallon.
Yep.
I use that. And it's funny. Speaking of like park hacks and stuff, what we're talking about with the heat, it's for real. Like I do a siesta here. Like right now, I do a siesta. Like I go out in the morning, go out in the evening, and stay in the afternoon. Same thing at the parks. You will not regret it. Is go ahead and go back to your hotel around 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock.
Oh, yes.
Rest, get inside, hydrate yourself, and then like a vampire come out around 5 or 6
Mhm.
and then you will have a fantastic evening there. Um,
Oh,
but
you are
yeah,
absolutely right about that.
yeah. And
Ref
also the fun part is all the kids are now collapsing by that point. So as you're going in, all the exhausted parents and the exhausted children are stumbling out, and you're like, "I'm so refreshed. Here I am." Um, and what I did last time when I took my nephew, he was about 10. We went back. We were like, "Forget this. We're going back." And my sister and my niece were like, "No, we're not. We're gonna stay all day." And we're like, "Have fun." And I took him to the exactly. Exactly. It's like, "You go ahead." And so we went back, and of course, he wanted to swim because, of course, 10-year-old boys have nothing but energy. So
Right.
he did that, and I was under one of those little cabana things. It is at the not the conventional. What's the name of that? The contemporary one. That's where
Yes.
we were staying, and you probably know those cabanas you can get. And so I just sat in. So the aunt just sat in there, is like, and just watched it go up and down
Mhm.
the water slide. So we all stayed cool, and I rested, And then when we went to meet them, it's like, okay, let's all go do stuff. And they were
Mhm.
like, they looked like they had just walked out of the way Tom Hanks looked in Castaway.
They're like, "I can't feel my face, my body, I'm drained, I don't know wh I don't know where the heck I."
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah, I have
Exactly.
seen that.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you do go to the parks, even though you think you're losing out, you're not. You will have a
No.
far more fun time. And the early evening, before it gets dark, that kind of cool twilight time is one of the best times to be at. I'm thinking Magic Kingdom, especially. It's just really nice, not as crowded, and it's not as brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said it absolutely, absolutely perfect. There's a reason when I'm doing my live streams in the summer, I'm usually out of that park by 12 or 1 o'clock. I'm either headed home or I'm headed over to one of the resorts to basically camp out there for
Yeah.
for a little bit because you do not want to be out there between 12 and 5 unless you are back at your hotel and you are in the pool. Just make sure
Yeah.
you have enough sunscreen and stuff on. But I've seen that where people do that. They're just like, oh, we're going. We're going to go to our hotel. We're going to go play in the water because swimming will wear out, little monsters too.
Darn right.
It's very sneaky, but it does. They'll get tired of splashing around all in the water and everything, and boom, they're like knocked out. But yeah, that's what you do. It's like, folks, you cannot do Disney all day in the heat of the day. It doesn't work.
And it's better to just take 2 days or well, you're lucky because you live in state, so you probably have the pass. I'm assuming you have the pass.
Yes, yes, I do.
Yeah, so you can go and come back, and it's not like a big. It's not like you're losing money if you don't stay the full day.
Right.
Yeah, and you probably get perks and stuff. I'm assuming as well.
Um, Not as good as with my Universal pass, but
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Well, Disney's gotten a little weird lately. I haven't been back since 2016 because I wanted to go to be our guest because I love Beauty
Hmm.
and the Beast so much. If you're a Beauty and the Beast fan, nothing's better than the be our guest and the fountain and Gaston's tavern. It's really, really an amazing experience. But I haven't been back to Universal. I've heard Universal's more fun. That it's more customer friendly.
Yes, it is. It is more customer friendly. And if you're a pass holder, it seems like they cannot do enough for you. 9 times out of 10, when I go to Universal, I'm always getting asked, "Did you have fun today?" And that's not something that I get asked, at Disney. There's like a pass holder lounge that you can go to at Universal. So I've actually taken my laptop and done work like in the pass holder lounge where they have like their own Coke Freestyle machine. If you've never seen a Coke Freestyle machine, that thing is awesome. It's like 100 different kinds of kinds of
Oh,
soda. Oh my gosh, soda juice. Oh, it's the best. So they have like their own private one there. Other things you can get, swag you can get, team members that can help you out. That's nice to have. You get early entry into the parks in certain
mm,
months. That's freaking amazing. You get to do that. You get other like perks that happen, like special menus, special, dining rooms. It's just fun to be a pass holder at Universal. That's pretty much what I can say. It is absolute fun to be a pass holder at Universal, and there's always some kind of promotion going on to like say how much they care about their pass holders. It's great, and one of the good things about being a Universal pass holder, because Disney right now, you can only, if you're from out of state, the only annual pass that you can get is the one that costs like $1,200 a year.
hmm.
That's the only one you can get. And if you are If you're a Florida resident, of course, you can get the Florida resident passes, but there's different levels to them. Like one where you can't go like on the weekends at all, to the one that I have where you're blacked out, I think like Thanksgiving week and from December I think 20th through the 31st, which I don't care because Disney's
Yeah.
crazy that time of year. So I didn't really care about that too much. But with the universal passes, it doesn't matter. They'll quote you an out of state price for the annual pass, and it is literally like 40% cheaper than Disney's, and they will actually let you pay monthly.
Ooh.
So
Ah.
I've used that when I wasn't living in Florida, but I was visiting Universal. So it's like I got a pass for like I got my annual pass. I was paying for it monthly. And I'm like, okay, so you get like 20% discounts off of food, merchandise, all of that in one trip. You could pay for it.
Girl, because, you know, I was thinking, I may not be a resident, but my parents are. And I'm like, and wait a second, because I'm over there. Because I really want to go to Universal again because of the new Harry Potter area.
Oh my God.
And I was gonna say you would be able to tell me what to do because I only went to when it was Diagon Alley, like back in what 2013 or something, when it was really small. I did not see the expanded part.
Oh, okay. So you probably only saw Hogsmeade.
Oh yeah, Hogsmeade. My
Yeah.
fault. Yeah,
Yeah.
Diagon
No,
Alley is oh gosh, I shoot
yeah.
me, I'm yeah,
Diagon Alley is
the
oh my
expanded
gosh. It's
one.
like it's expanded. There's more room that's there. Kind of sad that they got rid of Jaws for it. I love that cheesy attraction with the fake shark.
Mhm.
But they put Diagon Alley back there, and Diagon Alley and Hogsmeade are connected by the Hogwarts Express.
Yeah.
You could literally spend an entire day in Harry Potter world. Literally, you're going from Hogsmeade to Diagon Alley to Hogsmeade. There's so much stuff to do. Oh my gosh, it's literally like you're in the books, you're in the movies. It is, I can't even emphasize how crazy authentic it is.
Yeah. Well, I remember they had some of the cast members dressed up like students from Hogsmeade, and they had like the frog choir, and so they'd go and give little concerts. I love
Yes.
those.
I love the frog choir, especially
Yeah.
at Christmas.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna try to make it happen. It just depends on circumstances because I really want to see it and I really want to have the full experience. But this brings me to something I want to share with the whole planet: Slytherin pride.
Yes.
We're Slytherin and we're proud.
So proud of it.
Slytherin Slytherin is misunderstood, and I blame it partly on the movies because there's so much more to Slytherin than meets the eye.
Oh, it sure is. I mean, it's so bad, the bias against Slytherin. I
Yeah.
can't even check in security at Universal with my Slytherin lanyard without getting quote unquote profiled, okay? We may have to run you through twice through the scanner because you're Slytherin, so we gotta do that. I'm like, oh, for real, really?
We suddenly find we're pulled out of the security line every time we're at the airport for extra searching. It's like
Yes, they're just like, well, we're gonna have to check, and before I get on the Hogwarts Express, I get the lecture. Okay, you Slytherins, you need to respect the spell limits. I'm like, oh God, yes, I know.
it's like we're not idiots. Yeah, and I well, some of the characteristics I just brought this up on one of the wikis: cunning, ambition,
Uh-huh.
resourcefulness, determination, pride, self-preservation, and shrewdness. What's wrong with that?
I don't see anything
Yeah,
wrong with that. I'm like, folks, you say that like it's a bad thing.
I
But I'll
know.
I'll tell you this much. When you go to Universal, all the Slytherin merchandise seems to be in short supply.
Mm.
I'm convinced we wind up hoarding that stuff, but Slytherin, that stuff sells out first.
Ah, interesting. Well, I
Yeah.
make my own swag. I think I've told you that once. I crocheted a blanket. I have a purse. I have,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, bookmark. Girl, if you have a bookmark, a PO box, maybe I'll make you some swag. It's very easy. Crochet is
Oh,
very simple with the colors and uh, all sorts of stuff you can make. Make little Slytherin snakes and you know.
oh, I would love that. And you just reminded me of something else that I love about the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. All of the homemade swag and especially t-shirts
Hmm. Yeah.
with the sayings on them that people bring and to the parks. They're just hysterical.
Yeah.
And I love it. Just seeing like everyone's, creativity. It's like what Disney used to do during
Hmm.
something called Star Wars weekends. This was before the dark times, before
Before the
Galaxy's Edge and Kathleen Kennedy, before
Disney.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, before
George Lucas ran off into the sunset with his 4 billion.
yeah, before, when he was working real good with Michael Eisner, because that era of Imagineering understood the Star Wars mythology and mythos. And that's why Star Tours, of course, they're probably going to screw that up with putting in prequel nonsense in it, why it was so authentic and why originally Galaxy's Edge was supposed to be based on the original trilogy. So before the dark times, they
Yeah.
would have something called Star Wars Weekends in May, which was pretty much a Star Wars convention every weekend. So you had some of the actors that would come in. You would have people coming in, with their cosplay, everything. You had like Darth Vader out in the parks. It was awesome. It was an absolute legendary time. Well, now with Galaxy's Edge, and they can't wear your own stuff. You have to buy their
Mhm.
overpriced
Jerks.
crap that nobody freaking wants, and it's gathering dust, and eventually it'll wind up in the character warehouse, and still people won't buy it.
No.
But
I mean, I wouldn't buy it on discount. No, yeah, I've got a small pushback. I mean, I love the prequels too. I consider the first 6 to be good. So I'll take some prequel stuff. The sequel can jump off a
yeah.
cliff.
Oh yeah. I can't tell you how many times I will go over to Galaxy's Edge. I will, because I'll go through there. There's some stuff that I like. And it never fails that I hear people talking about, this is not Star Wars.
Mhm.
Where's like actual Star Wars? I don't see it. I don't,
Mhm.
recognize what this place is, as opposed to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, which is like crammed to the gills with people
Mhm.
and just all having a good time, from people who bought their robes from, the shops there at Universal, to the people who made their own.
Yeah.
It's just so wonderful to see, and it just feels good to be there.
Yeah. It's like it's almost as though they did something for the fans.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine they would if they'd have done like Tatooine or had different areas like, Mos Eisley and, Jabba's palace, all
That's
of
what it was
those.
supposed to be.
Yeah, they would have been printing money. They wouldn't have it would have been like their own personal ATM, like millions of dollars would have gone through that place. But they're like, "No, let's make this up like totally made up thing in the world of Star Wars." It's like, no. Why would we do that?
I
Um,
can't even. And it's interesting because, yet again, you had like Imagineers that left the company. They either went to work for Universal or other places, because literally up until Kathleen Kennedy made that decision,
mhm.
Galaxy's Edge was going to be based on original trilogy. You were going to be able to walk out of Star Tours, because when you go into Star Tours, it's like you're in the forest of Endor.
I
And then
remember
when you
that. Yes.
remember, and then when
Yes.
you come out in Tatooine traders and you couldn't move around because everybody is like packed together trying to get stuff,
Mhm.
trying to get swag and everything. And you were actually going to be put out where you could go to Mos Eisley Cantina, where you would see banthas around, and the little kids could, like, ride on the banthas. You'd have Jawas around. It was literally going to be a replica of Tatooine, and I think they were going to incorporate some parts of a Coruscant as well. There was
Ooh.
supposed to be a theater, that could actually have more Star Wars themed shows that would go on. All of that was supposed to be an original trilogy. Plans were headed towards the original trilogy. It's like, imagine being, an Imagineer. It's like, hey, I got to work on Star Tours. I'm going to get to create Galaxy's Edge, which is like, I get to put all of this great stuff, from Endor to Tatooine to Yavin to Coruscant to, all of this stuff. The pod racing. I heard that was actually supposed to be an attraction. The
Oh,
Boonta Eve pod racing was
this
supposed to happen.
hurts. This hurts.
All
I
of that
want it.
stuff was supposed to happen. Imagine being an Imagineer working on that. And you're all excited. And you basically told, guess what? No, we're not going to base it on the old stuff. Now they want to base it on the new stuff because we don't want to base it on what 55-year-old white guys want, right?
Mhm.
The sequels are the future.
I'll show you
People are
this.
going to want to walk in and create their own, you know,
Y
uh,
Your own
their
story.
own story.
It's like, "No, we
What?
don't."
No, we don't. We freaking want to be able to walk into the movies that we grew up or got introduced to. That's the world that we want to go in. That's the world that we expect to see.
Mhm.
Not this, well, we're going to make it up. And if you didn't see the movies, well, that's too bad. You're just going to have to, read a comic book to try and figure, and figure it out. Oh, you couldn't figure it out. Okay. So now we're going to build this Star Cruiser for $66,000 for
I know.
barely, barely 2 days. No one knows. You're basically LARPing for like a day and a half.
In
And
a cramped little claustrophobic room. It's like, "Wow,
with a
sign me
rock
up."
garden. With a
Yes.
rock garden. We're going to use the force to make these rocks move. When I saw the first day, previews with because they had some vloggers who got to go for free. Okay.
Mhm.
And you're looking at this stuff like, oh my gosh, this is the Andor. Yeah, you got that
Yeah, the
Andor
independent
experience.
experience.
Yes. Yes, except that you're paying for it, and I'm just like, "What the heck is this for 6?" It's like, no disrespect to the cast members because they did it was a job for them, and
Yeah.
they did their job as best as they possibly could, but it was the worst execution because the way that this Star Wars hotel and it was supposed to be a hotel. When the way that this was pitched, it looked like it was gonna be a hotel, like, say you're on Bespin, you know,
Mhm.
or some other, outpost or whatever. That's what it was supposed to look like basically a Star Wars convention, 24/7 with the atmosphere and everything. It's like, oh, okay, we'll stay at this hotel. We could go walk into Galaxy's Edge because that's where the hotel was supposed to have an entrance into Galaxy's
Mhm.
Edge. So it would be absolutely seamless. But they didn't do that. They didn't do that. So they came up with the LARPing experience, and they base it on things that people just that's not the Star Wars people want to see. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not going to pay $6,000 to do what is it? They had like the electric slide, they had bingo,
Yeah.
they had blue shrimp, stuff like that. It's like, I'm not paying for that. It's like, you know what I'll pay for? I'll pay for, I call it my dinner with Darth Vader. I will
Mhm.
pay to have that scene reenacted. from The Empire
Oh.
Strikes Back. Do you know how much freaking money?
I would pay holy crud, a full dinner on Bespin, and then Vader comes in, and then they do that, and then we get to keep eating. Because
Yeah,
remember he said I'd be, "Please, join us," and so
join us for dinners. What that conversation
yeah,
is gonna be
I
like.
would pay $1,000 for that. Hell yes.
Oh,
Take
but
my money.
here, just shut up and take my money. Just, take that. It's
Oh.
like to be able to be a stormtrooper for a day. Come on now.
Ooh.
Harass people for real. I mean,
Yeah. Hey, that's been my dream.
get to do
Oh.
all that stuff, but it's like they didn't want to go with that. They didn't want to go with understanding that if you bring the Star Wars that George Lucas had
Mhm,
and that George Lucas trusted Disney to do, and it was a successful execution because he sung their praises about it with Star Tours and the way that they had
mhm,
that done. They just refused to acknowledge that that is what makes the money, and that is what would make the money, and contrast that with what J.K. Rowling got to do with the
mhm.
Wizarding World of Harry Potter, and you walk into there and you don't even if you've never read the books, even if you've never seen the movies, there's no mistaking where you are and what's going on.
Nope. And it's fun, it's magical. I mean, you feel like you are in a wizarding world. I wanna highlight this. Have you heard this one?
I've seen t-shirts with this on it.
Yeah. Gryffindor in the streets, but Slytherin in the sheets.
Yeah.
I want that. Hey, yeah, and it's true. I'm just saying. But here's the thing: he didn't know Teresa was Slytherin would be sketchy. Let me tell you the big sad sorry story of my life. Once upon a time, I was a naive Hufflepuff that I was going to change the world and all that. I became a teacher, and it's like I'm going to shape the future. I'm going to get kids to believe in their dreams. 22 years later, I am pure Slytherin and screw them all. And it's every man for himself.
You turned into Mrs. Krabappel, didn't you, from The Simpsons?
That's why I totally relate to Snape. You know how everyone's like, Snape was so horrible. I'm like, no, Snape is my hero. And oh gosh, I mean,
Oh, man.
it's and I always thought it would be really funny. We saw glimpses of it in the books about the lives of the teachers in Harry
Mhm.
Potter, and like remember when Trelawney, he would be like, I always smell cooking sherry around her, and just things like that. I'm like, it's true. All of it. It's true. The teachers are going just as crazy as the students, but it's
Mhm.
behind the scenes. So yeah. Oh boy. Um, and
Yes.
yeah, I guess James Cameron helped with the Avatar. I guess he did. I
He
don't know.
did. He
Mhm.
had the same kind of tight creative control that J.K. Rowling did. Because
Mhm.
if you go back to look at what happened with Star Tours and what happened with Galaxy's Edge, Star Tours was created when George Lucas still owned Star Wars.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
he had that creative control over it. When he sold it, that's when the creative control got lost. Now, James Cameron was smart enough to see, okay, I can't lose creative control. If you're going to use my IP, you are going to have to do it to the exact specifications that I want. Here's a story people probably don't know. Did you know that Disney tried to get Wizarding World of Harry Potter first?
No, do tell.
Yes, they did. From what I've heard that's been out there, that they tried to get J.K. Rowling to do Wizard of World and Harry Potter at Disney, but Disney didn't want to give her creative control. So she said, forget it.
Mhm.
Universal said, what do you want? And
Nice.
the rest is history. And Cameron saw what happened with that, said he wanted tight creative control over this, and Pandora, the world of Avatar, turned the Animal Kingdom park from a half day park into a full day park. All of those attractions and everything that's over there, you step into that land, it doesn't look like you're on Earth anymore.
Oh,
And at
nice.
night, it is absolutely fabulous. It's gorgeous. Literally, if you've gone there to the Avatar, the World of Pandora, and you've gone on the well, there's a boring boat ride attraction. It is boring, but it is pretty. And then there's the Flight of Passage, which is a 3D simulator ride.
Uh-huh.
Those two attractions, if you go on those and then you watch Avatar, you literally have flashbacks from being on those attractions because they're so seamless. Everything,
Nice.
down to the experience, down to the queues. The queue is basically part of the entire ride. People take long going through the queues because there's so much to look at, and it's literally frame for frame recreating parts of the film that you see.
Oh my gosh.
It is just, it's absolutely amazing, and that has a lot to do with James Cameron having that tight creative control, because when we're going there and we're spending our money, that's the type of immersion that we're looking for.
Mhm. Exactly. And they're not owed our money. That's the thing, that it just seems like they thought, "Oh, we'll just make it call it Star Wars and they'll come because they have to
Mhm.
come because they like Star Wars." And we can look at it and say, "No, we don't wanna do that." They they can't put a gun to our heads and make us go. That's the one thing they can't do. They can call us names, they can do
Mhm.
everything they want as far as that's concerned, but guess what, kids? We're still in control of our wallets.
Mhm. And yeah, Soul Assassin is absolutely right. Now look at Universal expanding and planning new parks.
Darn right.
Epic Universe is coming at Disney like the original Death Star. Okay.
Yeah.
The construction that is going on at that park, they must be paying a ton in bonuses if they get it done early, because they've got coaster track up. There's like a dueling coaster that's up. They're building Nintendo World over there, which is going to be insane. They are building the Ministry of Magic also over there from the Wizarding World of Harry
Damn.
Potter. They are also building the Universal Monsters Mansion. So it's going to have the Universal Monsters over there. And they're also building a How to Train Your Dragon
Dude.
land. Yeah.
Oh, that's just painful. That sounds so awesome. It's like, take my money, take my money. Take all
Oh,
my savings, my pension, my all my stock. I don't care. I'll live on the streets. I want to go experience this.
it is so cool. I drive by, I'm like, I can't wait for this to open. It is literally 3 times the size of Universal right now.
Damn.
That park is going to be a juggernaut when it opens.
Yeah. And that could have been Disney. It could have been
Yeah.
them. Nothing was stopping them. Well, you know what? We're gonna laugh all the way to the dragon world and to the Ministry of Magic and and all that.
Especially with Super Nintendo World.
Oh,
That
hell.
whew.
Oh, Mario Brothers. I don't know what they're doing, but I'll just show up and just like I'll dress up like the Princess Daisy and
Princess Daisy,
just
Princess
walk
Peach.
around. I don't care if I'm too old.
We're gonna
I
have
don't care.
Mario Kart. There's gonna be a Donkey Kong coaster. I
Damn,
mean,
Mario Kart. Oh my god.
Yoshi ride, Toad's Cafe. I can't wait for the sucker to open. I
Oh,
really can't. It's
dang.
it's 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 gonna be flipping amazing.
Whoa. Well, okay. Well, I know what I'm doing for the next 10 years and and I'll tell you what, in my older years, I go to the fanciest place. I don't care how much it costs. That I put that into my budget because I used to be one of those that would go to Disney World and be on one of those hotel or little things like way off site, and then you take a little bus, and then at the end of the day, when it all closes at midnight, you get in line and you wait for the bus and you wait for the other bus, and then finally you get on like you're on the Titanic waiting for the last lifeboat. That was me in my 20s. I'm in my 40s now. Screw that, because I only go to like the contemporary, like right there. I don't even just go to one on a monorail. I go on the one on the monorail that's 5 minutes away. And so I'm doing the same with Universal. So when I go, I am going to one of those, and I will just move in for 2 weeks when all that stuff gets started, because I'm sure they'll have like things between it and passes between, and like where you
Oh
can go to
yeah.
each one of those. Yeah.
Oh
I,
yeah.
I want to ride the Hogwarts Express so bad.
It is so much fun. Oh
Hmm.
my gosh. I mean, when it pulls into the station,
Hmm.
everyone with their smartphones and cameras taking pictures
Oh.
of it when it, when it comes in. And then when you get on the Hogwarts Express, it is, and I'm not exaggerating, it literally looks the same as it does in the movies when you get on, with with the way that the even down to the upholstery and the pictures.
Oh, did the
And
trolley lady come?
yes, the
Oh
trolley
my
lady
gosh.
comes by. I mean, you don't see her. It's like a projection,
Okay.
because there's like a screen that kind of shows, depending on which way you're going. If you're going from Diagon Alley to Hogsmeade, of course, it's like you're going from London into the country and then to Scotland. And then on the way back, it's kind of like flipped the other way. So when you're going, you'll actually see Fred and George on their brooms, and they're advertising their new joke shop. And you got like fireworks and stuff like that. You've got Dementors that'll
Ooh.
see them like on the outside of the glass, like when they touch it, and it's like it starts to freeze up. It is so creepy, and I swear the temperature drops when they come by. It's so cool. I mean, it's that's an attraction in and of itself, going and coming in. I mean, people just it's such an immersive experience. They've
Mhm.
got it like literally down, everything. Even King's they have a replica of King's Cross Station. And I've been to King's Cross Station. It is
Ah,
literally an exact duplicate. When I've live streamed it, I've had people from the UK are just like, I can't believe this is in America.
yeah. Well, and I remember I went to the restaurant. I forget which one it was in the original one, and that
Oh,
rolling.
Three Broomsticks?
I think the pre, yeah, and that rolling actually had. Not, she even had a say in the food that they were serving
Yes.
there and the
Yes, she did.
recipes.
Yes,
Yeah.
she did.
Yeah, and yes, Steve, you do need to rewatch the Harry Potter movie. See, I'm actually
Mhm.
planning on doing this too, because I
Oh,
got the Blu-rays for Christmas. I'm gonna watch them from beginning to end. It's been a long time since I've done that, and maybe do the same with the books. Um, and what's fun about the Harry Potter thing is, I remember when they were out and really popular, in the '90s, like all the kids. Suddenly, all the kids at school were just they had their noses in these books and they couldn't get their noses out of them, and it was just like, oh my
mhm.
gosh, the kids are reading again, the older kids. This is amazing. And the phenomenon of going to the releases at midnight, I don't know if you ever did that, like when the
I'd
books would
heard
come out.
about it. I wanted to
Oh.
go because they had one at the Franklin Institute in Philadelphia,
Oh.
and I think it was up, like, where the, observatory was, where they had, like, the telescope and everything. I was so jealous, I wanted to go, but I couldn't.
Yeah,
Even
oh my
Barnes& and
gosh.
Noble was having, like, Harry Potter release night
Yeah.
sleepovers and whatnot.
Yeah, I went to those. I did it for that. They started it, I think, with Order or the Phoenix or Goblet of Fire, but I was a bit late coming into it, so I was at the Half Price Prince one, and then, of course, the
Mhm.
Deathly Hallows, and I'll tell you what, the Deathly Hallows one was insane because it was gonna be the
Oh.
end, and we all wanted to
Mhm.
know, and we were all dressed up, and it's like, "Get out of my way, you stupid 10-year-olds," I'm sitting there with my friends, we're and we're like my friend was dressed up like Beau Bouton, and I had a little pickup
Oh.
costume I was wearing, and and when the books came out, and we were all like, it's like no one panicked because we don't want to get arrested. We wanted that book so bad, and it was funny, and and they handed us a book, we bought them, and then we all just zoomed off to our cars. That was just it. It was like, see you in a few days, and we just stayed up all night. I mean, it was. I've never really experienced that before, and I don't know if I will ever again. That hype, and so the same crowd, people like me that were adults when it happened, those have had children, or there were little children, people that grew up literally with the Harry Potter books. So it's just so ripe right now to have like this universal thing and all that. It's like it's multi-generational, and you cannot buy with money that kind of devotion to a story.
You are so right, because it's organic.
Hmm.
It's like you find out, and then you find out someone else knows, and then
Hmm.
you like all bond over that. And it just it really is. It's just an organic type of growth that goes on. You tell somebody, they get hooked, another person gets
Hmm.
hooked, another person gets hooked. And that's just how it grows. And that's like how Star Wars used to be.
Hmm.
And even I granted I was not into this fandom, but I had mad respect for it because the Hobbit cartoon is one of my freaking favorites.
Hmm.
I love it. That sucker is timeless. And that would be Lord of the Rings. Now,
Oh yeah.
I was not I wasn't big into fantasy. I was more into sci-fi. I had some friends who read it, but I gave that much respect. And when the movies came out, the Peter Jackson movies came out, I was there with bells on. I have it on DVD, on Blu-ray. I need to get it on 4K. I loved watching that whole series. It was like, thankfully, I don't have to read the book unless I want to.
Hmm.
And I do have them on tape. But just how beautifully they were constructed. And it
Hmm.
had that true element of fantasy, because that's what we expect, and that's what we expect to see. And the Peter Jackson movies, just encompassed all of that, which is why that was so popular. And then yeah, it was. The
Hmm.
Hobbit cartoon was fire. I never tired of watching that. I
Hmm.
loved that as a kid. I was like, I'm not gonna read the book,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna watch that cartoon.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorites.
Well, yeah, and I think what you said about it, it what Tolkien did, it's very difficult for people to sometimes to understand. Is it's not just any fantasy story, though it is just another, if you will, another fantasy story. Tom Shippey, the scholar, he had said Tolkien didn't invent the fantasy genre, but he showed what could be done with it and left an enduring legacy that all fantasy writers are completely indebted to. And the fact that, because he's a philologist, he's a language person, he started writing and constructing this story when he was in the trenches of World War I. It was a lifetime amount of work, and then when you see that, it didn't happen by accident, that it was such a masterpiece, and that even as flawed as the Jackson movies are, and I love the Jackson movies, don't get me wrong, but they are flawed.
Mhm.
They can't help themselves but still be great because they're so close to the essence of what Tolkien wrote, and they said they did that on purpose. They said they wanted to do that. There were some changes they did, especially with my favorite character Faramir, which I will never forgive them for. But it's like, it's still, the overall story was there because when you're true to the character, to the you know essence.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I got all 3 of the Tolkien novels on Audible, because I don't have time to read the way that I used to. But I
Mhm.
was listening to them, and I'm just like, "Oh my god, this is what I love." Just between the dialogue, because Tolkien is a master at that dialogue,
Mhm.
between not only just between the characters, but the narration,
Mhm.
and all of that, and the way that the story is like told. It could just suck you in. Like, I was telling somebody the difference between the wannabe hobbits, which was the Harfoots and the Ring
Ugh,
of whatever the heck that is. I had to stop after 2 episodes. I'm like, this is
the
freaking.
Rings of
I
Gar
knew I
yeah,
knew it was crap,
yeah.
but I'm just like, no, I can't subject myself to this. I'm losing brain cells. And the Hobbits, and just listening to that part of the story where who the hobbits were explained and all the things that they loved and how they were genuinely just happy, and even Bilbo Baggins is slick as he as he
Mhm.
was, and everything, just that whole thing between him and Gandalf and setting all this up. And it's just like, this is what we want to get wrapped up in,
Mhm.
in these characters and in these stories and in this just wonderfully written written book and literature. And that's like the joy of literature, which is why I love like classic books. Like my I raid so many darn thrift stores now to
Mhm.
get like the books. Like I have Shakespeare's works. I think I got a whole book of like Austen's works. I think I have Cervantes.
Mm.
Just those that just classic amazing literature. And it's no surprise that some of the most popular literature today are the ones that learn the lessons from the greats like Tolkien when it comes to writing.
Darn right, yeah. Um, well, right now I'm rereading The Count of Monte Cristo, which is one of my favorite books of all time.
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
Yes. Yes, and as much as I love Jim Caviezel, I don't like that movie. It's not faithful at all. I mean, the revenge part is probably the only part they get right. But yeah, it is an amazing, amazing masterwork of everything. Gosh darn it, yeah, and of course the Three Musketeers. I've never read
Mhm.
those, but I want to get around to that. Crime and Punishment is one of my favorite novels. Dostoevsky.
Oh, oh my gosh. I just got a copy of a hardback copy of A Tale of Two Cities.
Yeah. It is a far better thing that I have ever done, and it's a far greater place that I go to than I have ever
I
known.
love that.
I have ever known. I'm like, I love you. I love you. Let me hug you.
Man, I love Dickens.
Yes, I know. I mean, the sacrifice that he makes at the end. Oh,
That blew my mind.
mhm.
And oh my gosh, I loved it. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I was mad as I don't know what, but I loved it.
It was a perfect ending, and it was I Tales of Cities is great, but of course, then you've got things like Christmas Carol, which is kind of a little
Mhm.
more shallow, but then you've got the giant Great Expectations.
Yes.
Whew.
Oh Lord, that one. Ugh.
Oh my gosh! And then Oliver Twist. I love
Mhm.
Oliver Twist. Yeah, there's a reason why Dickens is as great as he is, and he was like the Rowling of his time. People would like wait for the next installment to come out on the
Mhm.
newspaper. They'd be all lined up, and
What
yeah,
happened? What
yeah, yeah. It's like
happened?
we gotta find out what happens to little Dorrit. Oh, yeah. Oh gosh, it's just so good. Yeah, the Count of Monte Cristo is great, and that's what I also think, that we have a situation where obviously most of the new stuff that's happening is complete garbage, but then go back to a happier place, go back as far as you need to. The stories are timeless, stories are sacred, and they're just waiting to be read.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the best things that you can do besides well, used to be the libraries,
Mhm.
but go to like either, like a thrift stores or a gold mine. I'm telling you,
Mhm.
to get books like that and just go and find just like all of the books that are there, especially classic literature.
Yeah.
There's a reason why they're classics. And some of like even the best modern movies, you'll notice like, why is that so familiar?
Mhm.
And they'll say, well, I was inspired by this, by that. It's like, oh, okay, classic literature. Okay, that's why it completely makes sense.
Yes. Well, Don Quixote, from the from Spain. You got Les
Mhm.
Miserables and Hunchback of Notre Dame from France. Madame Bovary, the German literature, Faust. Uh, that's not even getting into the great operas, though a lot of them were based on the great works. And yeah, wow, this we've suddenly gotten snobby tonight, but it's not
We
really
sure
snobby.
have.
We consider we consider it snobby, but this was actually the popular literature of the day, the popular entertainment of the day. It's only snobby now because that's what the English teachers make us read. But
Mhm.
it used to be that this was the stuff that people would say, "Oh, that's not quality, Charles Dickens. That's
I know.
garbage."
I told somebody, I said, "Oh, you like Bridgerton, huh?" I'm like, "You do know that's Austen, right?"
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't
Austin.
read Bronte. She gets on my nerve. I can't. I just can't. I can't with Bronte. I don't know why, but Austen. That's why I had to buy. I had to buy like a compendium of all of her books. I love Austen, but
Oh
I was
yeah,
telling people, I'm just like, you do know that's Austen, right?
yeah. It's Austin with the trash involved
Yes,
because yeah,
exactly. The
Austin
stuff
didn't
she
write some.
didn't write, they kinda shoved that, they shoved that in there, and
Yeah.
even just the popular music that's played,
Mhm.
with, string instruments, like chamber music.
Yeah. Well, that was they didn't have CDs back then. They didn't have iTunes. So if you were
Nope.
hanging out at a party, it's like, "Woohoo, we've got ourselves a string quartet. Let's party, man." That's what it was.
They're paid for the night, we're getting our money's worth.
Damn right. Yeah, or if someone knew the piano, Persuasion, she would they were like, "Oh, you're the spinster. Just sit and play the piano while we dance."
Yes.
Yeah, it was a thing. Oh, my. I happen to love the Brontes, but it's a total different style. Well, it depends. You've got the Jane Eyre, and then you've got the insane Wuthering Heights. I love my murder. That's a really dark stuff, and even the stuff about their other sister is dark. But yeah, to each their own on all of that. Keep saying yeah, Treasure Island, and to get the Robert
Oh,
E. Howard.
Treasure Island, absolutely. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh.
Well,
That's an awesome one.
yeah, and of course, you probably remember back in 1995. I was a senior in college when the new adaptation of Pride and Prejudice took the world by storm. And
Oh,
everyone just went
yeah.
insane. Yeah. I heard there's a new adaptation. It's like, "Oh, I've seen some. I've read the book." And then it just starts off and you see Colin Firth and you're like,
Oh my
"Oh,
god. Yeah.
oh, this is a whole other planet I'm on now."
Uh-huh.
It, oh, it do you remember everyone was glued to their television? It was on PBS
Yes.
for us, and it was and then the scene where he's looking at her while she's playing the piano. I would
It was insane.
It was insane.
I loved every minute of it.
Yeah. Yeah, so we remember that, and of course, not in the book, but when he
No.
took off his, he was in his white shirt and he swam in the lake and then gets out and he's got the wet shirt. It's like, wow, we've never seen a man fully clothed in a white shirt after coming out of a pond. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like pornography. I mean, we all just went insane. It's like, oh yeah, and I remember there were jokes like, "Men, you want to get laid? Dress like Mr. Darcy."
Mhm.
and and say, "I must tell you how much I ardently admire and love you." Oh boy. Okay, yeah, and Stieg is pimping. Yes, a 1990 movie. Charles has Julian Glover. Yeah, Julian Glover talked with. I got to spend the weekend working with Julian Glover at a Star Wars celebration. He talked about
Mhm.
that, and Oliver Reed, Christopher Lee. Yeah, it was an insane
Oh,
cast.
okay. I will have to watch that because I've only read the book and have watched Muppet Treasure Island, which is a very,
Oh,
very nice guilty pleasure. I freaking love that.
it's adorable. Yeah, but you'll enjoy that. Yeah, young Christian Bale. Yeah, it's insane. He's like 12, and you're like, oh my gosh. Um, yeah, so I'd highly recommend. I bought it on DVD. But okay, we're gonna start winding down this party. But when we wind down this party here at Miss Martin Muses at our pub, I guess allegedly. Lorena has been drinking this the whole time. There we go. So she's gotten down to the pineapple.
Where I'm scraping the side like I need to get more. Where am I?
Rum. Please, may I have some
Why
more?
is the rum gone? It's-
Yeah. Well, we're going to the roll 7. And the way the roll 7 works is we roll I roll 7 times a d20 and there's 20 questions. These questions were the idea and the questions were compiled by Steve, my mom, and tested on my dad. So
oh,
this is a group work, yeah. So yeah, with Steve in the chat, I got to give credit where credit's due. But yes, we crafted these and put them together. And so what I do is I roll the d20 and you answer them. It can be as rated G or as rated R as you wish, uh, within reason. And I invite the chat to also participate. So let us begin. It is okay, La Reina. Oh my gosh, that wasn't. It came up on the symbol, not on the number. For
I love
crying out
hearing
loud.
the dice in the
Okay. All right. La Reina,
Mhm.
what are you most afraid of?
Bad fashion.
Oh, good answer. Yes. So you don't like Meghan Markle? Oh gosh, that girl is always wearing wrinkly clothes.
You know
Yeah.
what? It's bad enough. She's a distant cousin of mine. Yeah,
No
on her
way.
dad's side. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Who
Yes.
aren't you related to?
You know what? It's scary. It's really scary. I don't like to go look at my 23andMe because I went and looked at it, I think 2 days ago after like 2 years, and not only find out these like two African tribes, which I knew of, like there's the Kingdom of the Congo and there's the Mabuti people who are like from South Africa. But then I find out I got ancestors from the Sudan,
Ooh.
from Turkey, and the Philippines. What the heck?
Your ancestors got around.
Yeah, I keep hearing that song. Get around. Papa was a Rolling Stone. I don't know. I'm like, goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, who is it related? Yeah, and Steek says bad fashion. Lorena would hate me. I agree. Steek's fashion is atrocious, and I judge him all the time. Um,
Is it like the really bad 1970s fashion?
no, it's worse. It's
Oh
oh
my
wait, actually,
gosh.
I'm gonna shut up. I'm well, Steek does. Steek, you brought it up. You brought it up. It's just a general lack of fashion. It
Oh my gosh.
but and he does help the channels behind the scenes, um but he's proud of it, so I guess he doesn't care, it's like at least 70s fashion would be fashion. But I digress. No more Steve bashing. Wait,
Okay.
1970s, I'm not that old. Well, you were. Oh, never mind. I'm going to shut up. Um, oh gosh, Soul Assassin. I think if I go to a family reunion. Yeah, we're all getting. Yeah, we all go to family
Oh
reunion.
my
Lorena
gosh,
shows up at
that's
all of
too
ours.
funny.
You got me with the Scandinavian and that, and the Spanish and the Creoles and the. Oh gosh.
Oh yeah,
Oh
you
dear.
did say Scandinavian. Oh, well, this is gonna blow your mind.
Okay, all right.
You probably heard me talk about it too. Stig already knows. So yes, a DNA matches from from Norway.
Dude.
From Norway. I'm forgetting the darn province. It's like south, extreme south. Either way, they were going over to Scotland and raiding over there. So that's where it came from.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
And the
well,
Scottish went to Florida. That's what happened.
sweet. Yeah, well, one of Steve's ancestors around 930 went and shagged one of mine in Normandy. So that's a fact. So yeah, the Vikings, they went around and they slept with people and they raided. So
Yep.
yeah, so Lorena's like, "Where's Wally? Spot her and everything." Yeah,
Too funny.
I love it. No, that's wild though. I mean, that makes sense. So you're Scottish, you're Norwegian, you're everything. Um, Yeah. Now, this is a good one. Steve says it could have been one of Lorena's ancestors, not mine. Actually, now that you mention it, with it being
Yeah.
the south of Norway, there you go. I'll blame it on Lorena. Oh dear. Okay.
That's funny.
Question
Oh
number
my god.
two.
Okay.
All right. All right. What would you do if you were the only human on Earth?
Raid everybody's houses.
Sweet. Be like on Home Alone, jumping on the
I
beds.
would. I would jump on the bed, take all your stuff, or be like Fallout. Who's he got? What's in here? Ooh, grenades.
Nice.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
Dang.
gosh, see, Lorena can't sleep with anyone because of incest risk. Oh, that goes with the grenades. Okay. So, hey, I'm all for grenades. I've learned that I haven't played at Fallout yet, but I've learned what you can do with those grenades. Like you can put them in people's pockets and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, my gosh. Oh dear. What is it? Check everyone's cabinets. Darn right, Charlie.
Mm-hmm. Everything. They could have stuff in there. They could have gold stuffed in there somewhere.
That's right. Though again, I guess gold would lose its value. If no
Mm,
one's around to sell it to.
mm, I can make stuff with it.
Okay. Oh, there you go. Gosh, they're roasting you in the chat. Well, hey,
Yes.
this is where she dates, where she reads about her ancestors.
Yeah, this is true.
Dating folk girls. Hey, and true fact. In general, if you are 6 degrees of separation, you're okay. A sanguination or whatever. So there.
Yeah, as long as it's not, the marrying the first cousins or, they have, let's see, kids with the one wife, the wife dies, the widower marries the sister and then has kids by the sister, and then the cousins marry. Yes.
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
That's the Cape Cod family tree. I don't like going there because I need a shot of Jack to keep all that stuff separated.
Oh dear. You see, the Lord knew what he was doing when he was writing Leviticus, okay? He wasn't just trying to bore us. He was trying to keep our genes from
Yeah.
it's like you can't sleep with this person or that. And keeping us from STDs as well. Let's see. Yeah, let's not repeat the haps person. Katie, Matt.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, let's please not.
No, let's not say we did. All right. What's the one thing you cannot live without?
Coffee.
I agree.
Yeah. Coffee
Yeah.
keeps people safe for me.
Yeah, that's one of the first things I do in the morning when I wake up. It's actually, I don't know when the last time I went a day without coffee. I don't think it's possible.
I think the only time I did that, I slept till like 12 o'clock and 12 o'clock noon because I had the day off. I
Yeah.
think that was the only time I didn't go for coffee.
Well, there you go. My goodness, yeah, coffee. That's a good answer. All right. Okay. What's your favorite TV show and why?
What's my favorite TV? Oh my gosh, I gotta pick one. Oh man, it's like what year do I want to pick? Dang it, that really is a tough one.
Yeah.
Let's say recently.
Yeah, you
Or
can choose
10 or
by
20
category.
years ago. Um, let's see. Well, science fiction, that's gonna be Star Trek.
The original series?
Um, I respect the original series for what it is.
Mhm.
DS9 is like top one, and it wasn't always that way.
Yeah.
But now it's like DS9, next gen, and then original series.
Ah, fair enough. Yeah, DS9 was unique. It definitely was. Yes.
Very. It was very cool. Yes, X-Files and Twin Peaks. I loved both of those, especially Twin Peaks because that was some crazy ish, and I couldn't stop watching.
No, I every and they were so stupid. It was so popular, and they moved it to Saturday night. It's like,
Hmm.
what's wrong with them? I remember that, and it's like they put it in the graveyard. Great soundtrack, and I remember the whole hill, "Who Killed Laura Palmer?" That was a thing.
Who
Everyone was
Killed
talking about.
Laura Palmer? And one of my favorite episodes of the X Files was the Fiji Mermaid one because that was literally filmed in Florida.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Well, I've got a confession to make that watched. I have not watched X Files, and I'm in trouble. Yeah.
Oh
I know. I missed it. I missed
man.
it. I just missed it. I was at college, I was studying, I was going to teachers
I
college and student
I hear
teaching,
you. I hear
and
you.
I just missed it, and my mom watched it. She loved it. My mom and my dad, and yeah, I've gotten in trouble on several occasions. Do plan to watch it sometime. Yes, hello, Jacob. Thank you for
Hey,
being here.
Jacob.
Okay. I think we're on number 5. Was that the 5th or was that the 4th? I think that was the
Um,
5th. I don't know. Hopefully,
was it the-
so I think 2 more. If anyone's been
okay.
keeping track in the chat, see, this is why it canceled. There we go. Yeah. See, I need a producer. Like all those people, is like, I have my producer. It's like if I had a producer, they'd be yelling at me. You're supposed to. You're on 5, 6. I'm supposed. I have
Oh,
actually been told I'm supposed to be making a little tick mark, and I always forget to do so. But anyways, here we are. Oh, never mind what the number is. Don't want to give away my secrets. What is your favorite movie and why?
oh man. Favorite movie? Empire Strikes Back.
Dang.
That movie, oh my gosh. That movie changed my life as to what movies should be because it
Mhm,
wasn't the happy ending, so to speak,
mm-mm.
that a lot of movies were used to giving you. By the end of that movie, I'm like, what? Went to see
Oh,
my friends at school. I'm like, did you see what happened? Oh my
I
God. Is Vader really his
I
pops?
know.
For
Yes.
real? Is that really his dad? No, it can't be his dad. Yes, it is. It's his dad. Really? No, it's not his dad. And I think I was showing my members that I have this like reading book that I got. I think I think it was like in junior high school. And it was like a reading activity book, all themed, Star Wars themed, completely,
Mhm.
all Star Wars themed
Yeah,
for
and it had
everything.
vocabulary and all that. No, I remember the
Yep.
debates on the playground. Was Vader lying or was he not lying?
Yes, that was the thing where he was just messing with him. But what if it's real though?
Yeah,
Man, they
and
could have just been messing with him, get him to come to the dark
yeah,
side. Nah,
it
that ain't real.
yeah, yeah, and the debate was real, and it was that one, of course, Han Solo. Oh my gosh, Han Solo's in carbonite, and then who
Hmm.
is the other? That was the talk too. Who was the
Yes.
other that
No,
Yoda
there
said?
is another. What are they talking about?
Mhm. So, of course, looking
That.
back, I'm like, duh, Leia got the message from Luke. Hello,
Hmm.
but we didn't know that.
We
It
yeah,
could have just been destruction.
we didn't know, and it wasn't where we expected things to
Mhm.
go. We thought
No,
that, Luke would go charging in, save everybody, and boom, that's all she wrote. But that was not what happened, and the Empire was just kicking everybody's ass,
darn
and
right. Yeah.
poor Millennium Falcon could not get that hyperdrive
Yeah.
fixed. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. And
Yeah.
then it gets fixed,
Uh huh.
but they had a darn tracking device put on.
Well, not on
It
this
was a
one.
mess.
Well, the tracking device was A New Hope. This was the one. This is how they got away, and then Vader
Oh
was
yeah,
just
that was a tracking device. Yeah, he said, "Did you disable the hyperdrive?" And I'm just like, "Wait, they just got it fixed,
I know, and
and you disabled the hyperdrive." Oh shoot! I'm like, I did not see that coming. This is it. It was a movie where things got worse and worse and worse
yeah,
for the
and that
characters we love, but the film got better. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Well, the only real triumph was when they did get it, when R2 fixed the hyperdrive, and I
Yes.
remember people in the theater clapped when that happened.
Mhm.
It was so triumphant, but beyond that, I mean, when Vader cut off Luke's hand, it was
Oh,
like, "Oh my gosh, the hero just got his hand cut off."
yes.
Everyone gasped. I mean, it was awful.
We
Um,
did not expect for that to happen. Ugh.
mhm. Yep. It was, yeah, an amazing film. Yeah, Steve's one is Jaws. You know, Jaws is a good one too. I mean, that changed everything as well.
That is, I'm telling you, living in
Mhm.
Florida, you're already, scared of water.
Yeah. Oh, well, and where I am, there's actually sharks all the time in the water. But I keep telling people, you're fine if you don't go out too far and don't
Yeah.
bother them. It's usually the surfers that get it, but I happen to be getting a pedicure, so I missed it, but we actually did have what we call a shark encounter, was where, my sis and, my mom and some other family members and some friends were out, and a black-tipped, shark just came swimming by. Now, of course, he didn't give a rat's rear end, he just swam right past them.
Right.
However, they all, as we say, grew wings and flew. I mean, they said that mom was even like, I never knew I could still move that fast. It's
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. Jaws, there was I know Jaws 3. I know people give that movie a lot of crap, but I liked it in 3D.
Oh, it
And
was
it happened.
fun.
Yeah, it was hilarious. I was just laughing. I think that was the one where I was rooting for the sharks in that one because
Yeah.
the humans were so stupid.
Yeah, they didn't deserve to live.
Yeah, they really didn't. It's like with the Jurassic Park movies. Eventually,
Mhm.
when I start rooting for the velociraptors, the humans they're just not worth keeping around the movie.
No.
But at Epcot, they had the living seas, and there's this one part where you walk in and you're surrounded by water. There's one way in and there's one way out. So Jaws in 3D had just come out recently. So we're
Uh-oh.
back there, looking at everything, and this girl starts screaming. And all I know is I saw some big, huge, what I thought was a shark just come flying by us. I'm like, oh my gosh, what the heck is that?
Oh.
I'm like, what it people stopped and they were just like, do we have to run? Or what the heck is going on? And a cast member was like, oh no, it's fine. That's just a jewelfish. I'm like, what? It's like, yeah, jewelfish. He's kind of old, weighs like 500 pounds, eventually he moves around. I'm like,
Ooh.
that is the biggest freaking fish I've ever seen. But I'm like, okay, I was like, okay, is that a shark? We need to get out.
Yeah, the fun's over now.
Yeah, party's over. Let's go.
Oh dear. All right, let's go for the next one. It is, what is the title of the current chapter of your life?
Ooh, that is an interesting question. It's a chapter of my life. Um, the subtle art of not giving a crap about what people think of you, part two.
Nice. And I know the real title. Yeah.
Yes.
I love that book. Yeah. Hey, and it makes you happier, doesn't it?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. Well, once you let it go, I know it's an overplayed song. Yeah. When you stop giving an F, life gets better.
Yeah, it's just like, whatever.
Yeah, life's too short. Yeah, my title is actually FML right now, but
Oh my God.
same concept though, same concept. But well, understand, what we've all the whole planet's been through in the past 3 years. I think, it's like
Oh, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm like, bring on the aliens. I'm ready. Take me away. Mm. All right, and last but not least, okay. Oops, where's it? If you could remove one invention from the world, what would it be and why?
S- Social media.
Mhm.
because young adults shouldn't be on it, kids shouldn't be on it, and senior citizens definitely shouldn't be on it because for some reason you can't call your grandkids. You can't call them. But you're on Facebook posting all of your business, beef that you've had with people for 50 years,
Yeah.
and we're supposed to care about it and you get mad because we don't like it or respond to it. It's just no. No, we don't need to see you're crazy, and we don't need to see some of you posting pictures in various states of dress when you are too old to have that on there. Sorry, not sorry.
No. Yeah. Well, no, I know exactly what you mean. Well, and sometimes the older crowd, it's like the same way they still think the telephone matters. They don't realize. Okay, that sounds mean. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. It's like, like, oh, the telephone rang. We have to answer. It's like, no, you don't have to answer it. And just because
No.
someone says something stupid on the internet, you don't have to argue with them. You don't have to correct them. You don't have to school them because they're probably just trolling you anyways. And I've seen people argue for hours, and then finally, I'm like, I once told an older person, but a younger one too. They're probably not even a real person. You're arguing with a bot.
Yeah. Just picking up on some things that you say because that's why one of my favorite retorts is, you're using Google Translate wrong, right?
I love it. Yeah. No, you're right, and I think it's taught people to be cruel. It's taught people to be narcissistic. That there's been studies now that psychologists are starting to come out with that it's created a whole generation of narcissists that
Mhm.
maybe it was latent in people, but there's something about social media that brings out the very worst qualities of people that tend towards that. And you see it by, you know, people think nothing about being cruel online that they would never say to your face. Um,
Absolutely, absolutely. I forget who I was telling. I said, "The difference between me and you is I see you in person, I will cop to every single thing that I said
mhm. Yeah,
without apology whatsoever."
yeah.
But you have some people where they're just like, "Well, no, I didn't really say that," or they'll run and hide from you. That's the other thing.
Oh, don't get me started on that. Or like, "I never said that." Yeah, it's like, yeah, it and there's nothing wrong with apologizing for things on a lot of people it's like,
No.
you don't have to apologize if it happened on social media. It's like, "No, yes, you do. Yes, you do if it has real world consequences." Um, hey Hey, I post selfies all the time of my rose, so you know what? I feel personally judged by this, Deke. How dare you? But people self-praising constantly on social media and constantly posting selfies for praise. Huge red flag. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I obviously you see my selfie right here. It's a very beautiful red rose, but um, sometimes though, sometimes there's different levels of that because if you're like promoting something, like a lot of people do see it as an extension of their promotion.
Mhm.
It's like, yeah, they gotta like I've got the best cream ever or face cream or I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I get it. It's like if usually, especially people who do like say lifestyle vlogs or like even like myself. I did not want to show my face in the beginning at all because I'm
Mhm.
like, that's ridiculous. It doesn't really make any sense, to do that. But if you're doing, lifestyle type stuff, people want to see who they're dealing with. It's just one of those things. So you're kind of like, hey, I'm here, hey, I'm there, but it's connected to what you're doing as opposed to some folks, and yes, I have seen you who will post 10 selfies a day. For what reason? Oh, here I am outside. Oh, here I am inside. Here I am with a steak knife. Here I am with my cat. Here, I just like we see you fine. It just
Yeah.
makes
No,
it.
okay, you're right. It's like your life is not that interesting.
No,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. People are just like, you should do a vlog for your cat. I'm like, first of all, Professor X is spoiled enough already and
Oh,
likes to
yeah.
try to destroy my darn studio if he thinks that I've been streaming for too long. But
Uh-huh.
I'm like, no, he does not need his own vlog.
No, well, mine's already a sociopath. Well, she's actually getting a little senile. It's not her fault. She's old. But yeah, but I no, we all know, and we all know who we're talking about. Not one, not one in particular. Sorry, the types. It's like no,
Yeah.
let's all pick on. I don't know somebody, but no, it's a thing, and I get it, because sometimes maybe if you're not getting enough praise in your real life, it's like, "Okay, I need a little pick
Yeah.
me up." But then you can that's where people can start to get addicted to, what do they call it? Hits, the serotonin or whatever it is, that
Yeah, that dopamine hit where
dopamine
it's
hit.
like, "Oh, somebody liked my picture," or, "How come you didn't reply to it right away?" Or people are
Mhm,
just like, "Well, so and so didn't like my post." I'm like, "Who the
mhm.
frick cares?" I
Exactly. I mean, 99.9% of the time, I don't even see it, because you can't see everyone, or it's the middle of the night. I in our circle, for example, well, like we've got Stieg in the future, and then we've got people that live in the past. We got people that live in Australia, and they're like 3,000 days ahead
Yeah,
of us. I mean, people are at work. People are, or sometimes, you'll go and you'll check your messages, or you'll check your feed, but you're not in a place where you can actually, respond. And it's yeah. And Soul Assassin says worst thing about social media is the bots get randomly followed by random accounts. Yeah. And I have found that it makes people more coarse. Social
yes,
media.
very, very, very coarse. People aren't responding from a, give people the benefit of the doubt. I mean, sometimes I'm guilty of that because sometimes people just do crazy stuff, and kind of come at you. But
Mhm.
people are saying things from the safety of being behind their keyboard and behind anonymity and common courtesy
Yeah.
has gone out of the way for a lot of people, and then they wonder why they're having problems interacting with people in real life. Like you've seen the
Mhm.
rise of, you know, travelers, air travelers, incidents against like, flight attendants that never seemed
Mhm.
to happen before. You will even see people like at the parks who will treat, cast members or team members like crap, and even talk, get into fights and altercations with just, other guests
Yes.
because they have this sense of they can do whatever they want. And then you have dumb idiots on TikTok. Yes, TikTok will freaking rot your brain if you look at it too long.
Mhm.
People doing stuff like, oh yeah, let me drink all the water from all the fountains in Disney World, or let me go and try to like punch people while I'm on camera for likes. It's just no.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the extreme version of it is that one person in England who was always going viral by, like, walking into people's homes and scaring
I
them.
saw that. I was just like, you're lucky
Finally,
you
he
in the
got arrested.
UK. That would
Yeah.
not have lasted very long depending on where you are in the United States.
I was about ready to say, everyone is like, "Hey, Britain, send him over to us and have him try that in Texas or in Florida."
Yeah.
Uh, but
Yeah.
but yeah, it's like this person, it's like breaking and entering. And it's scary and it's frightening people. And I think the one where they finally arrested him, they took too long, was,
Mhm.
there was a child, and child was going, "Daddy, daddy," and just terrified. And the mom is like, "Oh my God, my child," because you don't know, if someone coming in, if they're on crack or if they're on, whatever, you don't know what they're going to do to you. And S and I hope they all go to jail and rot, but because I just have a really bad attitude, because it's also affected school, because people will try to do stuff to,
Mhm.
um, to rile up other students. They'll beat up other students, or they'll rile them up, and they'll try to do stuff to the teachers, and it's I Steve speaking of Steve, everything is Steve's fault. I blame him, because, yeah, he got me to quit my job, and it's right. I finished out my contract because I was just sick of it. And you're just like, every time you're like, am I going to end up on TikTok? if I react a certain way to this student, to this
Exactly.
situation, and the fact that sometimes it be manipulative. They're like, let's really get a rise out of the teacher and then film them. Uh, and I've you just get sick of it. It's just not normal. On the other hand, oh, by the way, yeah, Steek says Teresa. Yes, I do know Steek. Yes, he is. He is the same off air as he is on air and on Twitter. Yeah, real life is, and in many cases, real life does match the online persona. That is true. That is true. That viral kid stole a train, literally. Oh yeah, that's the other
What?
thing. Yeah, he did. He took over the controls of a train. And see, and that's where people are like, where are the cops? Like that is illegal and could get people hurt. I mean, it's like I'm not gonna friggin' go to England until they start locking up people that do that.
That
It's
that's
scary.
that's a shame because I used to love visiting the UK and
Hmm.
visiting England, and y'all letting that kind of stuff go on? Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No.
Well, there's several reasons going on, and again, there's some of this attitude of the inmates running the asylum,
Yeah.
and this has always been a phenomenon, but I think it is now even more so, where the people that follow the rules are the people that get screwed, and the people that break the rules are the ones that get excused because it's more
Mhm.
trouble to arrest somebody. It's more trouble to do that,
Right.
but then they rely on the goodwill of people. That's like, well, that person's not going to go crazy and get out a knife and try to kill this person. So
Mhm.
it's a lot easier to just not deal with this person. But one of these days, someone's gonna lose it. Someone's gonna lose it.
They're gonna mess with the wrong
Wrong
person.
person. Yeah. Or they'll come to Florida and then that'll take care of it.
Yeah.
We'll throw an alligator at them, you know?
Yeah.
You come into my house. Well, that's the other thing. He would also get in back of people's cars, like at stoplights, and
Mhm.
it's like you don't know if you're about to be carjacked. I mean, it's just awful.
Wait,
Um,
getting in the back of people's car. Okay, I'm sorry. Maybe because I'm just paranoid, or maybe because I've just seen too
Real
many
crime.
episodes of Cops. But
Yeah,
my doors are always locked.
mine are too. Yeah, I was about ready to say, my, I have one of those cars actually that it automatically locks.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah, well, and see that's the other thing that we're living in a world where people just have to. You have to live like that. I don't want to live in a world where I have to lock things. It's like, well, I want to live in a world where I live, so I'm going to lock things. Um, but on the other hand, before going to the final question, if we didn't have social media, we would never have gotten acquainted with each other, right? Look at all the positive things.
That is true.
Like, there's no way, like you in Florida, Stieg in Norway, all the British people, the people in France. My best friend, we met because we were working on online. We met online through Once Upon a Fan, which was Once Upon a Time fan site. We met in real life, and we're best friends now. I have keys to her house. Now that everyone knows, yes, I can go lock into her house. But I mean, that's the kind of friends we are. We met in
Right.
real life. So I know people that got I I know someone that got married that way. That's how she met her spouse. They were gaming, and he was like all across the United States. She was over there, and they just started yapping while gaming. It's my sister's friend. And next thing you know, they said, "Well, let's meet in real life." Next thing you know, they've moved in together. Next thing you know, they're married. And now they've got 2 kids. I mean, so there is positive aspects of it.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Um, Locked impacting in the glove compartment. Yeah. Yeah. Um, So, okay, I'll get off my little soapbox for one more roll. Boo! Oh, sorry, that was loud. Okay. Oh, this is one of my favorites. What's the most annoying question you've been asked besides this one?
Besides- Oh, why aren't you married?
Oh yeah,
I
easily.
h- I hate that question. I loathe that question.
Yeah, none of their damn business. Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, it's like I started getting snarky. Like, I would start saying, "Well, why aren't you divorced?" It's like, "What?" It's like, "Well, it's a change of the state in our lives, isn't it?" And
Yeah.
that shut people up because yeah. It's like, none of your business. They don't know our stories. Um, I agree. The next annoying question is when you're gonna have kids.
That's the other one, and
Mhm.
I'm just like, unless you're part of, like, the immediate family, like, okay, the in-laws gonna ask you that. That's different. They have they have a vested interest, but somebody you've never known before asked you that, I'm just like, no, no. I think the only stranger who asked me that I gave a pass was the Korean lady at the nail salon because she was like 70 and she was always in everybody's business. So we
Yeah.
we are just we just kind of knew that one. So she would ask questions. She's like, "You got a boyfriend yet? You need to get married. You know that, right?" We're like, "Yes, Auntie, we know that. Yeah, 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 yeah. Don't file my nail so hard. We know that."
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Well, and there's several reasons also why it's awful, 'cause I, had a friend who true story, got married, and they got back from their honeymoon. He was going to pick her up from work a week after they got back from their honeymoon, and he was killed by a drunk driver. It's
Oh
the
my
it's the worst
gosh.
thing I've ever heard of ever happening to anyone in my life, and, of course, she had a huge nervous breakdown, totally earned. And
Oh.
so when people would ask her, yeah, she was in her 30s, but so why aren't you married? And it's like, oh, that's why you don't ask. It's like, oh my gosh. And it's like, well, my husband was killed by a drunk driver after we got married. Thank you for reminding me. Ugh, I mean, and the same thing with the babies. I had a friend that people would be so nosy, and she was actually having trouble, and she had several miscarriages, and she'd just had a miscarriage. And then people are
Mhm.
like, when are you going to get married? It's like, oh, that's just cruel. Um,
Yeah, it's like you never know what somebody what somebody has gone through, and yeah.
yeah. Steve has the best answer. Yeah, so yeah, we need some levity. Sorry, I brought that down. Steve said, I can't have kids with Loretta since we are probably related. That is true. That is true. We're all
That's
related to Lorena.
yes.
Yeah. And then this is when I've gotten this as well. You can do this for me since you have time. You aren't married or
Oh
anything.
my gosh.
You've gotten that too, probably. Yeah, yeah. It's like you don't.
It's like you don't have a life. It's not like you're, married or anything like that.
Yeah, and yeah, you get taken advantage of. It's a thing. Phil Assassin. I remember when an aunt told me why I have no kids. Told her because I don't want to be miserable like her.
Oh my god.
Ooh. That's why I'm not. Well, if someone's rude enough to ask, they're rude enough to get. They deserve to get that answer.
Yeah.
Um. Oh dear. See, it's just going to be an awful story. I pissed off innocent ones. They said I would never get married. I said my wife died. They apologized, and I
I'm
told them she had been
scared to
dead.
see the end of this.
She had been dead for a week. Sex was the same, but I noticed the dishes had piled up. I knew it was
Stig
going to
is
be effed up.
yeah, you knew it was.
Stig. I shouldn't have read it because I was like, wait a second, this is you got me. That's pretty messed up. You see, you never know what's going to happen on Miss Martin Muses. Who knew we were getting into necrophilia?
Oh my god.
Janie Mac.
I didn't have that one on my bingo card.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh boy. I know you're not kidding, Steve. I got banned. I wonder why you got banned.
Yeah, I can totally picture that.
Yeah. All
Totally
right. Well,
picture that.
that is our seventh question. So we're gonna wind up this pub crawl. But Lorena, is there anything else you would like to share before you tell us where we can find you and all that jazz?
Um, I think I've shared quite a bit. I think
What
some folks
didn't
have
we?
been overloaded. Like I know way more about her than I wanted to find out.
Okay. Well, where can we find you?
Well, folks, you can find me on Twitter where I cause all kinds of mayhem. I'm surprised I haven't been perp walked off that platform yet, but that's where you can find me usually, you know, yelling at the clouds or whatever. But that's kind of like where I am. I just like to talk about what it is that I like to talk about. And apparently people like to follow me and get that. So you can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram where, I post pictures of like where I am, usually in the parks or somewhere out in Florida. And definitely, if I come across some really disrespectful desserts, I will definitely share pictures of that with you guys on Instagram. And of course, you can find me on YouTube doing various videos and live streams about pop culture, sci fi, anime, and of course, theme parks, and of course, watch parties as well. So I would so appreciate subscription, trying to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year. But mostly, I just like to do stuff that I'm interested in. So I like having a channel where folks can kind of, something for everybody, so to
Mhm.
speak. I kind of like to say.
No, that's great. And that's the best, having fun. And yeah, we can get folks, we can get her there to 5,000. How far away are you approximately? I'm not seeing it
Let's
here.
see. Oh, I got a little bit of ways to go. I think I'm like I think I need like 350.
Okay. Well, we'll keep sharing it out. Share it out on Twitter and on all the different
Oh,
formats
thank
because
you.
yeah, it is. It's great content, and especially if you are. I love just going to visit the parks because obviously I can't go myself all the time. Well, I can't go myself, so I can go with you. See, Lorena will show you around everything you want to see. And and so as far as that goes, you can always find me here on Miss Smart Muses, where I talk about what makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or just really ticks me off. We have this Thursday. It's going to be Biggles Metz is going to be back on Pub Crawl.
Ooh.
Yes, or he hasn't come up with a topic yet. And then the following, is it the following week? Yeah, Nina's going to be on, and so is a Drunk 3PO. But we're still finding a slot, so you will be seeing him here in July, and many others. And of course, shout out to Steve because this was all his idea. And
Oh, cool.
yeah, more you. Oh, you like the YouTube shorts? Yes, thank you. And Tim, yeah, he uncannily looks
Oh, you
exactly
like
like
the
that one.
YouTube short? Okay. I've kind of been slow with doing the YouTube short. So I'll do some more.
Sweet, yeah. And I've been trying to get Tim to do a cosplay of Adam Driver's character in the last duel. Get him some armor and stuff because he looks so much like Adam Driver. That would be pretty badass.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah. And after 2 years, every Saturday, give or take a few, we have been doing a book stream on my channel. We started off with the Lord of the Rings and went through all of Tolkien's the Silmarillion, the Hobbit. We did
Wow.
the Shannara series, and finally the Raymond Feist Magician. It will be our 10th book. So we are ending on an even number for all of you. The last episode will be this Saturday as we will finish Magician Master and we will be riding off into the sunset. Again, every Saturday for 2 years it's quite a while and we've enjoyed it. And we will be doing reunions for those that have asked. We will be doing reunions every now and then where we'll talk about books, but not necessarily go through them the way we are. So the final one is Saturday, a little bit bittersweet. Also, stay tuned for some videos that are upcoming and my musings, my travels. Those the schedule's a little more erratic. It just depends on when I can go live, but I am trying to get those watch hours. I am very, very, very close to
How close are
monetization.
you?
I don't wanna jinx it. I okay, I basically need 400 watch hours and then I'm monetized, so
Oh my gosh, guys, we can get her. We can get her to that.
okay. I don't wanna jinx
We
it,
can
but
get
okay,
her to that.
I said it, yeah, it I it was one of those situations where it's like, "Oh, I'll never get monetized," and then they're like, "Well, you only have to 500 subs." I'm like, "What?" And it's like, "You should have done this years ago."
Yeah,
But,
they did just change it.
yes, and of course, so yes, it's gonna be there, and a long journey, but I'm glad to be here, and I couldn't have done it without everyone. But yeah, it is definitely doable. So I'm looking forward to that. If they accept me, I don't know how you not get accepted. I mean, I don't have any porn or anything. I don't know.
I think you will be fine. And we got to get you there. We have
Yeah.
got to get you there. So don't hesitate to let me know how I can help you out.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, right now, just if people will watch my content and shout outs have been great, and I definitely appreciate that. And we're gonna have one heck of a party for the monetization. It's been a long time coming, so uh, good times. And I think that's it. So we're gonna wind up this party. Thank you, Lorena. Thank you to everyone that's been here in the chat. Oh, thank you very much. Says just subscribed. Fletcher Williams, I suck at games channel. I suck at games too, so we're good. We're in good company. I cry. I'm a really bad gamer. I get frustrated that I when I
Oh,
well, you know what I mean.
I am, yeah, I that gaming is something that I've gotten back into. So I've been playing Fallout, and on the Nintendo Switch I have a game called Untitled Goose Game, where you get to terrorize a village in England as a goose, and it is the most hilarious freaking thing I've ever played.
Ugh. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Steve. Yeah. Steve's gotten
Oh
to hear
wow.
all of that. He's always there. He's had the pleasure, and I have on a few occasions almost made him give up the will to live.
Oh
With
my goodness gracious.
I get lost a lot. Um, I have to prove I have a commercial. Well, there we go. Yeah. So anyway, so we're gonna end this party. So have a great day, everyone. Have a great day, and be certain to try that weird pineapple thing and get home
Yes.
safely. I guess I don't know. Just have a designated driver or at least a guide.